boy, you know what time it is. It's the TLV Sports Talk Show. We talk sports, we talk life, we make you visible, taking life's vision. Keep us locked in, don't go nowhere, because we got Officer Andree Nelson, the journey. And so let's get this thing popping right now. Yeah, boy. Hey, listen, what's going on, Officer Nelson? How are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, Randy B. How are you?
Excellent. We're glad that you're on the air with us tonight.
Thanks.
And those that are watching, we hope that you get something out of this. We know you will get something out of this. Tell us, Officer Nelson, is it okay if I call you Andree, or should we call you by your last name, Nelson or Udi?
Call me whatever you want, Randy B.
Okay, Officer Andree Nelson.
Here we go.
You know, as a youth, where did you live and play basketball?
Well, I was actually born in North New Jersey. However, my family raised me in Orange, New Jersey, and you know, I come from a family of 6 boys, 1 girl, so I had no choice but to play sports. And because my father was an avid athlete, playing every sport, you know, we played in every park in town and around town. So,
yeah, we saw that from the short clip there that you was dunking on somebody. You seemed like you had some bunnies back in the day. Well, I know personally that you had bunnies because I had the opportunity to play against you, play with you. I don't think I ever coached you, but I knew your game was pretty live, and you had bunnies, and you could shoot. You can handle the ball. You can run a team. How tall are you?
6'3.5".
6'3.5". You know, and in those days, you know, 6'3.5". You know, they probably didn't use you as a point guard in high school, but I certainly would have, because you could run a team. And we see by the video that later on in life you still continue to play ball, but we noticed that you became a police officer. When did you decide to become a police officer?
Well, through some of my father's friends, they said, Big Joe, your kid seems to be a real good guy. Did you ever think about becoming a police officer? And I was like, not really. So one of my father's friends, Ellsworth, brought me the application. I filled it out. I sent it in, and lo and behold, they called me.
Wow. See, and that's your purpose and your destiny. Well, you know, I know, how many years were you on the police force?
5.
How many?
25.
25 years. That's a long time. I know you've seen a lot of things, good and bad. But if you could think back to this question here, what's the most dangerous situation as a police officer you encountered?
Well, I mean, working in Newark, I mean, you're talking 25 years of trauma. So I'll give you one. They sent us on a job. I had a rookie kid I was training. They sent us on a domestic violence job. And those are always, of course, the most dangerous, because you never know what you're going to get when you go on a domestic job. We pulled up, you know, when we get a block away from the scene, as it's known in police jargon, I tell the dispatch, shut the air down. We're pulling up on the scene. Dispatcher calls me, and he says, Nelson, we got shots fired. So it went from just the domestic violence, you know, the husband beating the wife, to now there's shots fired. So as we approach the home, I see a black male suspect jump into a vehicle. He takes off. So now I'm engaged in a pursuit with him. We chased him for about 5 minutes across the sea. He bails out, on Irvin Turner Boulevard. I don't believe 300 Irvin Turner Boulevard. I out of the building. We go up about 2 flights of stairs, and he stopped. And it was in the wintertime, so we had a big fat goose jacket on. So I said, "Sir, take your hands out of your pockets." I had my weapon drawn on because bear in mind, the dispatcher said shots fired, which indicates he had a weapon. So I commanded him a second time, "Sir, take your," and I thank God because I'm the veteran with my partner who was with me because my partner probably would have taken him down. The gentleman takes his hand out of his pockets, and when he unzips his jacket, he had his 4-year-old son within his jacket. And when I say I literally almost start crying because I was that close to taking his life, but not knowing his son was in his jacket. And he just said, "Officer, I just wanted to see my son, and my wife won't let me see," because it was a custody issue, and so he just took his son. But had I shot him, I would have killed him and his son, and I know I would have quit my job at that point. So that's just one of many horror stories.
Well, can you tell us any stories about youth that are selling drugs or committing a crime, committing a homicide that you've seen?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's been instances where, and again, I coach basketball. I do AAU. I'm on the AAU circuit. And again, my thing is, I try to help the kids of Newark. I'm not, I wasn't raised in Newark, raised in Willingboro for the majority of my life, but I would take kids from Newark and I'd bring them down to the Kennedy Rec Center. And, they'd be like, "Coach Nelson, you know, are there black people down here?" I said, "There's black people everywhere," but because they've never been exposed to anything but Newark. But I had it. One of the kids I coached, I'm not going to say his name, but he was involved in a shooting. Turned out to be a homicide. And then I saw him because I knew where he hung out, and I went and I retrieved him, and I was like, "You got a body." And Coach Nelson, it wasn't me. I was just with him, and turned out he was the homicide suspect. And that broke my heart, but it is what it is because the kids have no direction.
Did he wind up doing time, life, or what
Oh,
happened to him
he got like
judicially?
30 to life on that job.
So he's still in prison
Yes,
to this day.
yes.
Well, we're going to ask you this question. What advice do you have to say to the youth today as far as life on the streets, staying out of prison, trying to do what's right, and you have a better choice because there are many choices to choose from.
Sure. You can go right or left, and everybody falls on the. I don't have a father figure. You don't need a father figure. And my thing is, and I try to encourage the kids because what's big in the city of Newark are gangs. So oh, they treat me right. No, again, gangs are not the answer. Gangs are not the answer. Stay in school, get an education, and guess what? Become a valuable part of society. Do something with your life. Have a career. And I worked in narcotics. I've spoken to countless hustlers on the corner. And the thing has always been, why do you sell drugs? And I will say this about Newark. Newark is the hotbed of talent for basketball players. And again, I've watched them from 7th grade to high school, go to college, drop out of college, come right back to the streets. And why do you sell drugs? Because everybody know me. That's your answer because everybody knows you. No, that's not the answer. But that's the way that's just their mindset. They want quick money. And again, why should I go to school or work at McDonald's when my boy's making $15,000, in 2 hours hustling? So it's the odds are stacked against them, but they're not insurmountable where you can't achieve. All you have to do is believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. You know, the Lord above will always give you a choice. You just have to make the right decision. And a lot of kids just don't make the right decision.
Yes, that's so true. Making the right decision, and not only that, a lot of youth are being persuaded and bullied by their peers and those that are
Sure,
older than them. They're like little pawns out in the street.
sure.
So how would they separate themselves? Because if they don't separate themselves, it seems like they get in a lot of trouble, and it even winds up to be a homicide.
Well,
So yeah, the parents can't move. If the parents can't move to a better neighborhood, what advice would you have for a youth that's under those circumstances and those conditions?
I mean, with those circumstances, I mean, there's so many variables that you take into consideration. And again, I don't want to say it's a losing battle because, again, all you have to do is stay focused. Stay focused. I know the temptations are there, but again, if you stay in school, one thing they will never be able to take from you is your knowledge, your education. Everybody goes to jail and comes out with these big, super giant, muscular bodies, but you never developed your mind because you are in a system that will continue to recycle you. Develop your mind. And, it's just hard because guys rather sell drugs than try to do the right thing. And again, it's just peer pressure and temptation. I'm riding a 10-speed bike. You're riding around in a Bentley. And you're 17 years old. So it's the allure of the streets. Women like guys that drive fancy cars, Randy B.
Yeah, it's a dead end street too, but you don't realize it because it's the glitter and the glamour.
Sure.
It looks good, but everything that looks good and looks like gold is not gold. So perception is not always reality. We want to thank you so much, Officer Andree Nelson. Your journey in life from Willingboro High School, born in Newark, raised in East Orange, back to your old neighborhood where you came from, originally, and doing good things in your neighborhood, still playing basketball, and still doing things with the youth. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely. I try to touch each and every person I have an encounter with. I try to make a difference. And I try to show them there's another way. There's always an alternative to crime.
Yes, you showed them there's another way. So you that are watching this video, keep that in mind. There's always a choice, a better choice, and there's a better decision that you can make, and there's always another way that you can go, and that's the right way, the best way that keeps you out of harm's way.
Yes, sir.
And keeps you off the street. So stay in school, uh, stay with the books, and stay out of trouble by walking away and staying focused. Thanks again for coming on the air. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me, Randy B. God bless, and we'll speak again.
We'll see you soon.
Yes, sir.